Hey, what's up, guys? It's Reed, aka Shuda for TransformPoker.com. I'm back making a 6-max hand review video for you guys. And yeah, first off, I just wanted to say what's up, everyone, because it's been like 2 or 3 weeks or something, 2 weeks since the last video I posted. Went on a little bit of a vacation out to the West Coast, so that was pretty sweet. But yeah, so I'm back. I'm ready to make some content for you guys. Let's jump into it. We got a 1-2 6-max zoom hand here, and we have the Ace King suited preflop, so that's great. It looks like we do a bit of a fancy play here, and we slow play it, which I don't really like with Ace King so much, just because it does so well to 3-bet, and the benefits you get from multi-way action or from squeezing aren't that amazing, because it's pretty rare, especially at lower stakes, that you're going to be able to squeeze, or I'm sorry, play back at a squeezer and then get it in against a hand that you dominate. So if you get it all in, chances are you're still racing, so you might as well try to get some value pre-flop by re-raising and having people call with a hand that you dominate. So that's kind of a general theme of Hold'em, is domination. So if you don't have a hand that dominates someone in a given spot, your implied odds are much lower. So keep that in mind when you're playing pre-flop especially. But now that we've called, let's check out the rest of this hand, because it gets kind of funky. So the flop is King King 2 with a flush draw, and the under the gun player bets, and we decide to call. I think raising here would be a pretty good idea. I can see the idea behind calling is because we're slow playing preflop and we have such an underrepresented range, or hand for our range, that calling is very likely to induce some barrels from weaker hands on the turn and river. So call here, okay. I'd probably prefer raising though, just because it's so unlikely that we ever have a strong hand with a raise. What happens most of the time is we're bluffing or trying to semi-bluff raise with a flush draw, and just having our opponent be put into a tough spot if he's continuation betting a hand like pocket eights or something like that. So raising is definitely a weapon that you need to be able to do for value as well as bluffs if you're going to be bluffing. And what better hand is there to do it for value than trips with top kicker? So yeah, I guess there is pocket twos, but if you guys aren't trolling, let's move to the turn. So the turn, pretty terrible for us, because his most likely king, besides ace king, is king queen, so that gets there. The flush draw gets there, so we're not really particularly worried about the under the gun player having it, as really his only combination of a flush hand. The few 9-8 of hearts, 10-9 of hearts, ace jack of hearts hand, but ace king and ace queen of hearts are both blocked now. So not so worried about a flush. Our range is going to look pretty dang strong once we call the turn, and I think that is actually a good transition to this river. I don't think doing anything else on the turn besides calling is a good idea, because if we raise, we overrepresent our hand, meaning that if we raise, no worse hand is going to be calling us, so it's kind of a dumb play. And I mean, it's just kind of a strange spot to bluff as well. As long as we have enough flush draws in our range, we should be able to continue. If you do want to work on a raising range here, you'd probably need to use hands like pocket sixes that you're going to be turning into a bluff. So that said, you need to be thinking about his semi-bluffing range on the turn, how likely it is to continue on the river, all those sorts of things. So before everyone's all like, oh, this is game theory optimal, blah, 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 you have to consider that going into the river, there are several streets before that wherein ranges change based on the action, based on pre-flop positions, stack sizes, all sorts of stuff. So trying to look at the turn in terms of optimal play is actually pretty complicated, so we're not going to go into that in a 6 or 7 minute video here. Having called the turn, we get bet into on the river, and now it's kind of strange because our range appears to be so strong on the turn. I mean, what's the worst hand that we could have? Like king jack suited, which is now a full house. I mean, it's really tough, and I don't think many players are going to be betting this river expecting us to fold with a flush or fold ace king here. So that really kind of leads us to believe that he has something pretty strong. Then on the other hand, it's such a great turn card to bluff, he really only needs to get to this river with air, and for us to call profitably, not that much of the time, like 30% of the time or so, probably less than that even. But we do have really good pot odds, and he has such a wide turn bluffing range potentially. It could just be hands like I don't even know, like 6-5 of diamonds, something completely random, where he just thinks every single time he bets this turn, we're going to fold pocket nines without a heart every single time. So he might be able to do it profitably with any two cards, and now that this river comes, it's pretty scary, so why not continue? He doesn't have to be doing that often compared to the times he is representing one of his value hands. Like we said, he has a few flush combinations, maybe a few straight combinations now, ace-10 suited that he bet on the turn. Jack 10, he might not be one of those players to turn it into a bluff on the river, so maybe that makes his range a little bit stronger now that he's bet. But the value hands like full houses are just extremely rare. There's only a few combinations of each one, about 12 total combinations here. I guess 15 if you're counting pocket twos, versus the amount of combinations he needs to have to bluff, and that's really only 5. So I think we can make a call here, and I would expect to lose most of the time, but given the pot odds, I think it'll be profitable. So for you game theory thinking guys out there, we're sticking to the top of our range is going to be a good hand with which to call down. Actually, if you want to think about the combinations, I may have miscounted a little bit since we're blocking a king. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this video. Pot odds equals call. And then what you think about a typical regulars river betting range here, because I think it's going to be pretty strong. Or the other side of the coin is maybe he's just autopiloting and 3-barreling with his 5-6. So somewhere in between that exists the answer. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Take care, guys.